Thanks, Joseph, and thanks Exactpro for having us here today. It's the first time for Japan Exchange Group to be in this conference, and I very much hope that it's not going to be the last one. I'm in the lucky spot to kind of present right after lunch. So I hope you're still kind of digesting and I hope there will be not so many questions afterwards. But so what I'll talk about today is not so much focus on testing. Of course, it's focused on testing, but more or less on the grand picture of what Japan Exchange Group is currently undergoing in terms of system replacement. And I'll focus on our most recent topic, the clearing system, which we label Grand Design because it's really like a very large project, and it spans over several years and involves all kinds of testing as well until we go live. But first of all, what is JPX and who are we? JPX is the merged entity of Tokyo Stock Exchange and Osaka Stock Exchange, merged in 2013, and now has the holding company of Japan Exchange Group, but still operates as two separate silos, mainly TSE and OSE. TSE more or less taking part of the cash trading systems, and OSE of the derivatives trading systems, as it was historically. We still have our separate entities in the IT department. So we have the TSE IT development and the OSE IT development, and then we have the service department, which cares for each specific product, mainly derivatives trading, cash trading, and also clearing. So how is JPX set up? How are we structured? We're mainly operating on a ring-bound network that spans throughout Tokyo with several access points. The ring-bound network, as you might know, Japan is a very earthquake-prone country, and so we had to take any sort of measurements to keep our business running, even in the case of a large earthquake. That's why we have the ring-bound network. If you cut it at one point, you can still send the orders the other way. And so we have these access points here where not only the Tokyo Stock Exchange and the Osaka Stock Exchange is connected, but also our backup offices, and they all connect in our two main data centers to the trading systems, clearing systems, and other systems, which I come to speak of in a minute. And also connected to these ring-bound network are our trading and clearing members who are trading our products. Even though we're one entity, we still have very multifaceted trading systems and market information systems in place, which are not yet unified. The main system that we have, and by far the largest system, is the cash trading system, which we call Arrowhead, which is a in-house developed Japanese system, and the TOSnet system, which kind of is attached to it, which is our platform for auction trading. And then on the derivative side, this is handled by the OSE arm. The derivatives trading platform, which is based on Nasdaq Genium, and we label it JGate, and this is where all the Nikkei futures and Nikkei options and Topix futures are running. As a second branch, we have the market information system. This is where we gather data and redistribute it to the vendors, and the ISC, the index calculation, index statistics calculation engine, where we run our index statistics. Also, TDNet is our timely disclosure network for all sorts of investor relation related activities, and where our listed firms have to publish their ad hoc messages and so on and so forth for quick redistribution. Then, of course, the clearing systems, which I come to speak to in a minute. So this is still threefold. We have the JCC clearing system, which takes care of the cash and derivatives products. Then we have the JGB, the Japanese government bond clearing system, which is yet a different system. And then as a third branch, we have the OTC clearing system, which is run by Calypso. And as the network, well, which I just showed in the previous slide, the ring-bound network, which is called AeroNet. So this is where all these systems run. Now, this is our master plan, so to speak, and as you can see, there are a lot of launches and replacements and upgrades and so on and so forth. So we are in the midst of several large projects. We just replaced the Tostnet system earlier this year on the cache side, and last year we replaced the JGate system, the derivatives trading system, and expanded it to also accommodate for products of TOCOM, Tokyo Commodity Exchange, which is also able to use our system. On the clearing side, and this is my main topic today, what we call the grand design. Our clearing systems are clearly outdated and do not adhere to global standards anymore. So we have made the decision 2 years ago to altogether replace our clearing system in a gradual fashion. And the first step here will be the replacement of the derivatives clearing, and as such we have chosen a Swedish provider called Cinnober to provide us with a new clearing engine. This clearing engine is supposed to go live in February 2018, so we're really in the midst of the project, and we just have started testing earlier this year, and are in the midst of testing, performance testing. Acceptance testing will be coming up from next month, and then we have the user acceptance testing, which will also come later, and the final integration test will be in October, November this year. So all these testing processes are currently taking place, and also parallel to this, but a bit earlier than the derivatives clearing engine, will be the OTC clearing system. This will still be run by Calypso, which will be replaced later in the latter half of this year. And then we have a major upgrade on the JGB side. We run shorter settlement cycles from May next year. So this will be right after the derivatives clearing engine launch, where we move to a shorter settlement cycle on the JGB side as well. What is our major idea behind it? So far we have this silo structured system where, like, the user, the clearing members, have to log in to each system separately, and they have to run like the listed derivative system, the OTC clearing system, and the JGB system all kind of like separately. And also for each single silo we have like the risk engine, the collateral management, all kind of like separated. And the idea behind the grand design is to kind of like move that into one place and have the collateral management go across all these silos, as well as the risk management system. Here again, we are currently in the first phase, where we run the collateral management system across the listed derivatives and the OTC products. And then as a second step, we'll want to expand that into the listed cash system and the JGB system as well. What we already have in place is the risk management, or what's already currently being developed is the risk management system, also by Cinnober, which will encompass all 4 major silos right in the first phase. And then in the second phase, which will start late next year, we'll also expand the collateral management system across all 4 silos. So far, as I just mentioned, the user had to log from his terminal into our clearing system, into our collateral management system, all separately, which is clearly not state of the art, and we're certainly lagging some recent developments here, and therefore we have to overcome this. And as our major project, we would like to have some sort of like single sign-on, so the user goes to the terminal, logs in, and has access to all 4 silos immediately. Also, we want to have it web-based, not terminal-based. So this is currently under development, and so by next year, this should be up and running. It's been the first time that we're actually using the Agile method, and so far we've always used waterfall methods. And this brings us to a couple of issues. First of all, mainly our project management team has so far not been familiar with the Agile project management method so far. And so there was a steep learning curve on our internal side from the IT development system. And but the second and much more, immediate threat or what risk is that our regulator, the Japanese Financial Services Authority, we have to get their okay for that method, for developing that system. So we have to kind of like educate them on what Agile method is. And if you look at waterfall, and if you kind of like look at how bugs get fixed in the waterfall method, and if you look at how bugs get fixed in the Agile method, you have this huge kink in the number of bugs being resolved rather at the end of the process, and this causes some raised eyebrows over at the regulator. So this is one of our dilemmas which we have to overcome, where we have to do some educational work. Also, the Agile method is very integrative, so we develop something, then we test it, then we develop the next thing, then we test it. We don't develop everything in one shot and then we test everything in one shot. So it's very integrative, and this is also rather new to us and to the Japanese market in general. And for that matter, there was a lot of kind of like learning to do and a lot of explanation to do to all stakeholders involved. However, we're sort of like on track. We get to manage the timeline, and we're optimistic that we can keep the deadline. As I mentioned, we're currently in the performance test phase. The acceptance testing then comes later in liaison with Cinnober. So they run their acceptance test, then we run our acceptance test on top of that. Then, of course, we have all the BCP tests, the failover tests, stress testing, which we also run. And then, first of all, we run this in a secluded environment, in our testing environment. Then we run it over the weekend in our production environment to make sure that the testing goes well also in the production environment. And then at the end, of course, we have the migration test, and then we load the master data into the new platform, migrate it, and so God will be up and running by next February. And yeah, so this is the overall timeline, and this almost brings me to the end of my presentation. So we started very early with communicating these methods to our clearing members, and provided them with the specifications so that on the clearing member testing side, there'll be no backlashes here in terms of like their system integration. And we're currently in the middle of communicating with these members. There, some of the pilot members are already running their tests and already kind of like writing to our new system in the testing environment. Also, we started very early with the acceptance testing. and system notifications as well. So unless something really unforeseen happens, this should be over by the end of this year, and all the participants should be up and running. Yeah, and so we are currently already running the weekday test environment for the members, and from July on we run the holiday test environment as well, and we have also several kind of like information sessions for the clearing members where we do the explanation in Tokyo as well as in Osaka. And yeah, this is major. This is like everything from the grand design in a nutshell. I'll be happy to stimulate some discussion here, and if you have some questions, some comments, remarks, then I'll be happy to take your questions. Otherwise, you have my contact details on the slide, so please feel free to contact me afterwards as well. And thank you very much for your time. Thank you.
I have a question. You mentioned that you're using Agile method, and usually Agile method assumes that you have developers working closely with business. But in your case, obviously developers are in Sweden and business is in Japan.
Right.
How do you overcome this obstacle?
Yeah, that's certainly a bottleneck that we have to overcome. So we run regular telephone and Skype conferences with the developers in Stockholm, and so there's a lot of emailing back and forth is involved, and a lot of these Skype sessions are involved. And our people in Tokyo, they stay up late, and then like the people in Stockholm come in early, so do these things. We actually are traveling rather regularly, or our testers or project managers are traveling regularly to Stockholm. The Stockholm people come over to Tokyo rather regularly. In fact, I'll be over next week in Stockholm. So this is like how we have to overcome the time zone problem. But yeah, you're right. We have this problem, and probably in the hot phase of the testing phase, we'll have developers and testers from Stockholm coming over for a longer period of time to be on site and do testing and developing right on the spot.
Thank you.
It's very interesting with that you're working with so many different providers. Have you made the strategic decision to actually use two competing providers for trading systems, for different trading systems of yours?
That's a very political question. I'm probably not supposed to talk on behalf of my management. I think it's an integral part. So I mean, we as an exchange traditionally we're very domestic exchange. So far we've only chosen like domestic providers for our systems, but we clearly came to the decision that other providers have potentially like a better product suite or a better pricing model or something like that, and so we actively made the decision to kind of like step out of our comfort zone and choose like different providers who are clearly sort of like advanced in their ability over domestic providers. The fact that it has to come to such a cluster building, provider A is providing this system, provider B is providing that system. I think that was not originally in the intention of our management system. It just happened to be, and so over time we became aware of that. And this is what I just mentioned in a couple of slides earlier, that we want to integrate this over time, and this is probably going to take like 2 to 3 years, or potentially even more if you want to integrate more systems. But yeah, at the end of the day, we want to come to one integral kind of like system provided by hopefully just one provider, one-stop shop sort of.
Hi, Peter. I really enjoyed that, actually. I've got a follow-up question. So you were talking about your current state and your future state. With your future state system, do you guys have some sort of a risk simulation engine planned in? So I can throw my trades into it before I actually send them through, and I can do some sort of a stress testing on how that would impact my clearing numbers before I actually commit to that trade?
Yeah, we do have our risk and stress testing engine. Like we have several separate test environments where we do these stress testings, and so from the perspective of risk testing, this is currently being conducted in the test environment, and then later on, once the test environment portion gets cleared, we run this in the production environment as well over the weekend.
And would the idea be that when you throw stress testing numbers at the system, you'd get your results real time, or is it going to be more of a batch process?
It is going to be real time. So the new system, sorry, that's what I forgot to mention. Right now, our current system is kind of like a batch process system, and the next one is going to be real time risk management. So this is what we're currently testing. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, very useful information. Just a quick question. What do you mean by real-time risk management in terms of clearing?
Real-time, well, I mean, it's not...
Do you mean the real-time risk calls, or do you mean the real-time risk calculation, and then at a certain point you'll do the call?
The real-time risk calculation, and then what kind of like comes after that, the collateral management, like the margin calls and the things that are involved in that. If you ask me about like precise kind of like time figures, I would have to recheck that. What really is real time, like how many milliseconds, how many microseconds is real time. It's certainly not as fast as the trading system, because like the clearing system doesn't have to be so latency sensitive. It's probably in 1 second increments or less, but I would need to check the precise figures. Does that answer your question?
Partly. My question was also sorry. My question was also around that. Do you only calculate the do you plan to calculate the risk exposures of each one of your members in real time and do the calls separately, or do you guys plan to make the calls as soon as you calculate the risk numbers? Because I'm just trying to find out where do you find the netting.
Right. So the calls will be kind of like simultaneous to the risk. So we calculate the new risk management system will calculate the risk according to the VAR model, and so our plan is to calculate the risk, and at the same time, if there's a shortage on the collateral, send out the margin calls in parallel.
One question
Yes.
still. So I think I saw several announcements that JPX is implemented blockchain-based solutions. Is it as part of this roadmap, or it is something separate?
I can't really say anything to blockchain. To my knowledge, we're currently not yet looking at implementing it. We do have set up a study group that is currently studying blockchain and distributed ledger methods and their usefulness for our trading. To which extent and in which time frame this will be implemented is right now beyond my knowledge, but I can certainly go back and double check with my colleagues.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Peter.
Thank you.